Hey y'all, good morning. So I am still up. I slept like all night long. Like I went to sleep probably at like maybe 7 o'clock last night. And I think I woke up at what, like midnight? Spirit woke me up. Hello, it's early morning witching hour, almost 6 a.m. Yeah. So I think we're gonna have a good discussion about this though. I really do. I have a good. I have such a good feeling about this discussion because I have been having this crazy past life regression for like the past 2 days. And I don't have them all the time. So just to let y'all know, it's very important for you to know who you were in the previous life. There will probably be synchronicities, good and bad, with your past self. And I embrace it. I like my past life as Ma Barker. She was a villain in her time, but she was also a hero to a lot of people because she gave a lot of money away to the poor because she grew up poor. So it's been like a really crazy, and it's like it's certain stuff that happens that I'm learning. When certain stuff happens, I'm learning to work. And I think that might be, I'm gonna read up on this. I'm thinking that it's got something to do with the shadow self too, or your shadow side. So that shadow work can be really deep and powerful. And spirit is very real. So what I wanted to talk about, and like it's been, was it like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, when there was a statement or rumor, slander, gossip that was put out there. And it was crazy because I was dealing with so many other things related to business, but when I had heard that, it was kind of like it went into my subconscious, but then it stayed there. And then that's when my past self was screaming to me and literally showing me so much stuff, because sometimes spirit will just, how like you'll just be synchronized with spirit. Like you'll either hear, see, feel, or experience certain things that have to do with that situation. And so it's been something that has been a part of some shadow work for like especially the past 24 hours, with my past self. And I think that that's what the shadow work is about. I think it's got something to do with your past life. I do. Anyway, it was stated that and you know what? That's crazy because this candle just popped. I don't know if y'all heard. It was like a, somebody said that she was a racist. Now, I haven't addressed this yet. This is not about that situation, but it is about that situation. First of all, it's very dangerous to slander the dead. It can be very dangerous. You have to be very careful. You have to be very protected. It has to be like a certain reason. Like you can't just be going out there like, that's why I don't slander people. I don't gossip. But like somebody had said that I was a racist because I was, she called herself Kate. I was definitely Ma Barker in a previous life. And I've been knowing this for years. And like it seemed like I don't know, that's just like going out there and disrespecting certain goddesses like Marie Laveau. Like I just would never ever say nothing negative about Marie Laveau. I would not slander her, and I don't know. It's like she used some very very powerful magic, She did. And so did Ma Barker, because it was later stated that she, like, everybody seemed to try to protect her image. And they were like, she did not participate in those robberies. They were saying that the movies that were made about her were incorrect. Um, I don't agree, because there were movies made about Ma Barker dating back to the 40s and 50s, probably even the 30s. Like, there's like a couple of movies that's been made, and they made some new ones. And so a lot of people didn't really appreciate her being murdered. But then again, a lot of people didn't appreciate the fact that they made her look like a monster in the media. So she's got the same power sort of as Marie Laveau. You don't hear nobody talking negatively about her. I've heard about people talking about her, and I've heard that they died. Like, they died after they said something about her. So, you know, and so she's got a very powerful spirit still, even today, especially to people that have some kind of connection with her. And so I had been getting contacted by this past self to speak on it, because somebody slandered her name. Somebody stated that she was a racist. And at the time, I couldn't deal with it because I was dealing with other stuff. But I was sitting here and I was about to eat my food. And I get this message from spirit, because for some reason this spirit was just running all around me. It was just like this message coming in that I was channeling. And it was coming from her, which is my past self. And, you know, I could tell that spirit wanted me to speak the truth about that, because she was not a racist. Okay. And I want people to understand that. Hey, friendly extortion 1-on-1. Good morning. Friendly extortion. I guess that's okay. Yeah, I guess that's okay. So I gotta go in a minute, because I want to eat my food, like, when I'm done talking about this. So I threw the cards and confirmed with spirit that yes, I was getting a message that that kind of slander was not going to be tolerated, even though she's dead, even though she's past. It's in the past. But y'all do know that according to quantum theory, the past is always happening, the present is always happening, and the future is always happening. Like, it's all still happening at the same time. So according to quantum physics and um what is that, is that like space-time continuum or something? You know, our past selves still exist, only they exist in the past. Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, so her spirit was coming through from the past, which was why. And guys, I got a haul today. Oh my God. I She has bought me so many gifts. And then also, of course, other spirits, but I work a lot with my Barker spirit for, I work with I do my shadow work with her. It's too deep. I ain't even gonna talk about it. I can't talk about that. That's too much information. That's TMI. That's TMI. But I've got a the Deviant Moon in like 2016. Half of that deck had gotten stolen. It was crazy. I'm not going to go into the story, but it got stolen. And so I've got a replacement deck coming. And I also got all the ancestor money, all of the candles that we need for the upcoming week for the ritual. So, and I'll be coming at y'all with a haul tomorrow, because everything isn't going to be here until tomorrow. So so what spirit confirmed for me, and by the way, she actually does like that deviant moon tarot deck. What people don't know about Ma Barker is that she practiced a little bit of occultism when she was alive. That is how she was able to pull a lot of that stuff off. Um, and why she lived like a long time compared to what you would compared to what other people of her stature. So yeah, I was a public enemy American criminal, and I started realizing heavily and big time that it was important for me to do past life work and shadow work because I was being persecuted. Just everything about, and I was like, why am I being persecuted? Why is that? I was like, what the hell? And I realized that it was because of that. And when I started doing the work, it actually helped a whole lot. And matter of fact, when I first moved into this particular house, I was having so many past life regressions from that past life, especially being over here and then being close to the water. It was bringing in a lot of energy, but it was good and bad, mainly good, but some bad. But no, she wasn't no racist. In fact, she actually there's some black relatives, there's some relatives that are somewhere in the bloodline that are black. So she's definitely, she was not racist in that lifetime. She was just greedy when it came to money. And then also I can admit, kind of ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Kind of ignorant. What they would call a hillbilly. So in that lifetime, I was also born in the state of Missouri too. So she was born in oh, was it oh goodness, I can't remember it, but I know it was Missouri. And then she had ended up traveling over to Florida, actually, where she was murdered by the FBI. Okay. But it was trauma based as well. It was very trauma based as to why she made the decisions that she made. And this lifetime for me was a lot different and a lot better. And that lifetime, like for example, my father back then makes my father in this lifetime look like a fucking cherubim, an angel in comparison. So I can't really complain. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, deep religious roots and hillbilly thinking. Not that it's anything wrong with that. Like, if that's who you are, then that's your journey. But she always wanted nice things. She always wanted money. She want, and back then it was even harder if you were born from a poor family because you were stigmatized. The times are a lot different. And there back then it was hardly any hope, but it was all about, what you had and what your family had, and her family had nothing. She felt like it was very unfair. So she was like a Robin Hood of her time because she robbed banks and became very wealthy and rich from those bank robberies and lived a very charmed life, lived a very good life. There was a lot of things that people didn't agree with. She was heavily talked about because she had her sons robbing people, robbing banks. She even kidnapped a person, a very wealthy person, held him for ransom. You know, very And yeah, she did make her journey through hell. She was on the highway. I was on the highway to hell in that lifetime. It was fun though. Would I do that in this lifetime? Hell no. And even in that lifetime, she had a huge aversion to being locked up. So everybody around her was protective. Her sons was willing to sacrifice themselves for her. I will tell you that as a mother in this lifetime, I realized that it was wrong for me to turn my sons into criminals. Okay. Now, and see, that's why I was heavily, when I started to make that journey back and forth into time. And I see it every now and then. Those spirits or ghosts from the past will kind of come through my children in this life, and I quickly banish it. And I know what I'm doing. Ain't none of my kids gonna be criminals in this lifetime. I have 4 children in this lifetime so far, 2 boys and 2 girls. Ain't they all decent people? You know what I'm saying? And so I protect them from those past life energies, and I know how through the wisdom of witchcraft and just spirituality and religion, period. Because she did have a really strong belief in God. And she was a Christian. So, but she was a Christian witch, though. She would be considered a Christian witch. And, so that, all of that, because it came out of the blue. When some stuff come out the blue from your past life, you'd be like, well, why are they doing this? Why are they accusing me of so and so and so? So yeah, it's crazy. So I went through that. I don't really go through that as much, but because it's being worked out. But I know for a fact, because she told me factually, that the person that spoke that slander on her, you ain't gonna barely hear from that person for real, because somebody said it, and I noticed that I ain't seen them. Like, it's so weird. Like, don't speak on the dead like that. That was like one of those things to where, if you were a white person back in those days, what difference would color make if you were poor? So if you were a white person that were poor, you kind of, knew it was kind of like, well, being white didn't get me nowhere. So because it don't. And her spirit is very real, very motherly. Like, that was probably one of the ways that I was able to mother myself. And she had, like, there was certain things about her that she didn't like. She had a strong moral system when it came to love and relationships. So there was a certain code that she lived by. Okay. And so, for example, her sons, since they lived the fast lifestyle, and a couple of them was on drugs real bad, heroin, and well, there was just one that was on heroin. But the other one, there was cocaine usage as well. So they would run into prostitutes, and she didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? She wanted them to have somebody that was, you know, strong morally when it came to that, because she would rather rob a bank than to sell her body. It just that was that was like her logic. How how, like, when you like, no matter what, we all have our own inner compasses, and so that was just her. That was by her logic, because she had strong ethics around relationships and fidelity and love, and how, now she didn't necessarily believe that, you could only have one man, because, she had a few lovers, but she did feel that it was important. She believed in tantric love. So that within itself, of course, if you come from a poor family, of course, you are going to be confronted possibly with being trafficked. And she was, and she refused. And even killed a couple of people in her lifetime because she wasn't handling that. Like she was the kind of woman that carried a gun. So, and had been through some other stuff when it came to the law, seeing the other side of the law, seeing the dirty, ugly side of the police. So, she had had a lot of life experiences really that the movies don't even really do it justice. But you can tell by looking at the movies, you can put two and two together, the kind of stuff that she was fighting against. And then also women's rights as well. She felt like she could do anything that a man could do. So she was a feminist of her time. Okay. So just that just that's what it is. Okay. And all of the gangsters of her time was afraid of her. All the thugs and stuff, they were scared of her because she had power over people, as far as people that was about that life. Okay. She had power over that, and she had spirits that was protecting her. And that's the reason why a lot of the gangsters of that time, they didn't mess with her. You knew not to mess with her because either herself or her sons could probably come and fucking take your ass out. Like she didn't play that because she felt strongly. She was very religious, and she felt like when people used slander against her, that she felt very, very serious about handling that. And it's very different now. These days, if somebody slanders me, I'm gonna put together some slippery elm bark and some mugwort and go to work. You know what I'm saying? But back then, it was more so I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna load this gun, and I'm gonna either threaten you with it, pistol whip your ass, or beat the shit out of you. She would have her sons whoop. She would, if you mess with her or her kids, even though she was poor, if you talk crazy to her and her sons would find your ass and they would whoop people's asses. I'm talking about beat down. So she was really, really, and you better not go and tell the law on her. Shit. I bet you it's gonna take longer for the police to get there than for me to come and snipe your ass. That's how she was, like literally, and you know what? She felt it was necessary to be that way during the day because back then, shit, back then people would steal food out of people would break into people's houses just to steal their food out of their refrigerator. Okay, so that's times was hard. This was back in the 20s and 30s. People are spoiled these days, is how she feels, is what she's saying. And she don't appreciate people that don't, because she'll see people with the basic stuff that she didn't have growing up sometimes, or the things that she will see people with that. She'll see people with it and she'll say, damn, you lucky, why don't you appreciate it? Because when you go through that. So she wanted to put money in her family, in the bloodline, and she literally overcame a generational hex, and she was willing to sacrifice, and she did sacrifice herself for it. She did, because back during them days, classism was big. It didn't have nothing to do with your race at all. It was all about what you had and what your family had. That was what was going to give you the opportunity. So if you came from a poor family, people didn't want to give you opportunity. It wasn't just like, oh, there's a job over there, I can go and apply for it. or the good jobs were not necessarily made available to people unless you was of a certain status. Okay. You had to already have something to have something. And that shit ain't fair. So, in my humble opinion, I was a revolutionary even back in those days. And she actually was the one that opened up the real estate market to people being able to rent. Okay, because it was nearly unheard of for people to rent houses back then. She actually found the house, went to the owner, and worked out a deal for the owner to rent the house to her. So that was back in them days. Either your family owned a shack or something, or a mansion, one or the other. So nobody did renting back in those days. And um the credit system was a little bit different back then. The credit system was based upon how much money you had, and they changed it because of people like her, though. Because if you had money, you can get credit. Did nobody care if you had money at the time and you wanted to buy a house, you could get credit. Okay. So it was very different. And, she kind of changed the real estate market when it came to that, which is a good thing, because a lot of people that buy houses, they may decide that they want to sell the house, or they may decide that they want to go to a different location for whatever reason. So, back then, if you had a family home, people pretty much just lived through it for generations. So things have changed, and so it's an adjustment, but it's times are a lot different. And even though we have these systems that are supposed to be set up to make things fair, it still can sometimes be very difficult and filled with obstacles. So, I can honestly say that in this lifetime, it's been an ascension and this growth to where, because when you're using a gun, and then also it was also about sacrifice, because obviously if you're dealing with somebody that's robbing a bank, they're going to be willing to shoot to kill. So a gun represents fire energy as well as air. But in this lifetime, we just use witchcraft to manifest. And we don't want to kill nobody because, a lot, like, for example, in this lifetime, she really doesn't even want to kill nature or flies. She don't even want to do that. But back then, she would, she would, just, she would kill people, literally. So, and it's definitely a transcendence. If you've had like anything negative in your past life and you're having regressions, it doesn't mean that life has to be hard or life is bad or you're a bad person. You may have already went through hell to purge yourself of all those negative energies. So you don't have to necessarily carry that with you, even though your spirit or your consciousness, it may be on your heart. But moving forward, you don't necessarily have to be the person that you were even last week, even yesterday. You can make a change today, that you know what I'm saying? So and we don't like eat, like, for example, in this lifetime, she doesn't not hurt people because she doesn't want to go to jail. Like, nobody should not want to hurt somebody just because of the fear of getting locked up. You should just be good for goodness sake. For real. You should just not want to hurt people. Okay. Which, that again, that's a totally different, because I had a lifetime in between that other lifetime. There was a lifetime in between that other lifetime where I don't even think I made it to the age of 40. So, this one is definitely, and I think passing through, you kind of get through that darkness. Your spirit or your soul has to travel to find where it wants to be. I believe in between lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely explore your past life. Don't avoid it, because that's going to be key in, you know, getting through it, getting your family through, and then also change. And it's okay for you to affirm, hey, listen, I can feel those negative spirits, that are happening and existing in a past life realm. And you know what? This is who I am now. And I don't have to suffer. And sometimes you do have to do spiritual work. You have to use the elements. Okay. So, for example, when we use a candle, we're using all four: earth, air, fire, and water. Okay. That's what a jar candle represents, because it's glass, the wax is water, the flame is air and fire. So, that is what makes magic move at all, is understanding that basic elementary knowledge of earth, air, fire, water, and then also spirit. So, and it's because it's so weird, because in the lifetime that I was Arizona, her name was actually Arizona Donnie Clark. And it was so weird because my mother nicknamed me Shani. My middle name is Shantae, but my mother always called me Shani. Everybody still call me Shani. I got a cousin. I talked to her probably like a month ago. She was like, "Look, your name is Shani. All that, you Shani." Okay, it's like, okay, fine, because it's the term of endearment. It really is, And if it makes people feel better to call me Shani, then call me Shani. I like that name. It's actually cute. And it connects me with my past life in a good way. In that lifetime, though, I was born into extreme religion, but then in the next lifetime, I was born into extreme witchcraft. So having the experience in the previous life of growing up where your mother is like, dominate, 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 it just like do evil just for the hell of it, very satanic. You know what I'm saying? And very powerful at the same time, but just very satanic. I've had the best of both worlds. So in this lifetime, it's it was healthy to have that balance of, a better understanding of magic and why you shouldn't do that, because tragedy was bestowed upon, a lot of tragedy was bestowed upon the family back then. And I actually left at like the age of 18, got married, was married for about 20. No, no, no. Yeah, I was married for 22 years in that life. And yeah, I suffered from a lot of karma in that lifetime, that the only way it was, yeah, it was a tough, hard marriage to that person. But anyway, we ain't even gonna talk about that. With this lifetime, it's very balanced. And coincidentally, I was a Libra in that lifetime. But it's very balanced in this lifetime as opposed to, you know, then it's more so, okay, I do what I have to do. But, I'm wiser and smarter when it comes to the decisions that, you know what I'm saying, that I'm making. And especially being that I am a witch, a practicing witch in this lifetime, I'm able to handle the situations without necessarily being very dark about it. Maybe I have to be a little sinister sometimes, but which is something that I'd like to not do, but it's very necessary because people in this lifetime, I mean, you know how they say there's no honor among thieves? Actually, during Ma Barker's lifetime, there was, because there was a street code that you had. So there actually was honor among thieves back then, but then it changed, which it was supposed to. So in this life, I'm not a thief, but very blessed because I gave my life, you know what I'm saying, for my family and the material wealth, and among other things. I gave my life for it. So the sacrifice, in her opinion, has already been made. When she became awakened inside of me, this happened 15 years ago, was when I realized that I was Ma Barker reborn. I realized that not reborn, but that I was actually her in a previous life. So, but she did want to say no, she was not racist. She thinks that that is the perfect way of keeping yourself down. She does that. That's not, kicking a person down because of their race. That's not that she, nah, nah. So, in fact, she never murdered a black person either. All of her victims were of the same color as her. So, and no, she didn't hate herself. She just did what she had to do because she was a criminal. She was a bank robber. And she hung with a lot of gangsters and stuff. She created a lot of people that, you know, when you think about it, all of us are standing at a crossroads to where we can either make the wrong decision or the right decision. And, your heart will tell you, it will. I can tell you that every single time I have like a past life regression of myself, it causes my heart to start. It feels kind of, I don't want to say it's a weird feeling, but it's kind of where your heart is alive and you can feel it. But you can feel that your heart is working some things out, but you just you go with it and you trust it. So these days in this life, the trust factor is at a all new level. Because earlier I was doing some meditation, and spirit came through to me and was like, we not, we're at the point where all things are possible. You know what I'm saying? Because they are. And so, it's for somebody to grow up very poor, barely having food to eat, maybe sometimes going days and days without food. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you become a survivor, but first of all, you appreciate what you have, and then you respect what you have. Because especially when you put in work to get it. Was something else I was going to say about that though. What was it that I was going to say about that? It went, y'all. I'll probably think of it later. Anyway, so yeah, she was not racist. No, no, no. And you got to be careful speaking on people that have departed because technically she is deceased. But do y'all really believe that people just die and that's it? I don't. I'm sorry. I've ran across way too many spirits, and I think that that's how we manifest. I don't believe that people, if if they're dead, they're just dead. They're still pretty much, the spirit can either hang around or it can move to another reality. But death is not death can be a physical thing. You can cause death to the body, but the soul moves on and continues. Hey, Shy Alpha, how are you? Are you having a happy St. Patty's Day? So yeah, I love the main thing, the main aspect that I love about myself in my past life is that I would have, like, my children were the most important thing. And I wasn't gonna sit there and not and watch my kids not eat. That was something that, yeah, that was something I was not gonna do. Just no, no, no. But in this lifetime, it's all about helping others as well as helping myself. You know what I'm saying? It's what and in that lifetime it was too, because she was not a selfish or a greedy person. She would, like I said, she was like the Robin Hood of her time, the female Robin Hood. Now back then she did absolutely, she couldn't stand, rich people that were assholes, and she just didn't like any of it. And one of the things that she never did was worked as a maid. That was one of the things she never did, ever. Cleaning up behind some rich person. Mm-mm. So, and was serious about it. She did feel a sense of entitlement, which, y'all know that the balance of wealth is not evenly distributed. We ain't even got to get into that. We ain't even got to get into that. But I think it is important for you to learn and understand your spiritual money gateways, and then learning how to create them as well, because she created it. It was very traumatic how she created it. And trust me, being shot in the chest, being shot that way, because that's how that was what killed her, was the gunshot to the chest, to the heart. Okay. So imagine that. But you know what? It's also a healing process also, because her spirit has been healing from that. And that's why I've had less and less past life regressions to where I felt like I was being shot in the chest. Like literally it is. And it's not a heart attack. It's not that. It's not pain, but it's more so a feeling. And it's learning how to work on that, learning how to work on your own body and your own spirit. It can really be difficult, but you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who you were in the previous life. If you were born into this life, your past life does not have to affect you. You don't have to suffer the same consequences that you did in that life. Now, if you're not learning the lesson, like if I would have came out, because If I would have came out the type of person that would steal and cheat, lie, and then, then I would have probably suffered that same fate. But, that's not the road that I took. It wasn't meant for me to take that road anyway. But the ghosts of the past, um, there's certain spirits and energies that are being dealt with in the spirit realm, having to do with that, having to do with people's relatives, you know what I'm saying, people losing their relatives or whatever death or destruction that I had caused in that lifetime. Those spirits want to still make me suffer because of it. And so I have to sometimes be very defensive, because part of me I already suffered because of that, and I suffered in this life too. I already made it was a sacrifice that was made beyond my, but it was meant to cause me the suffering that I needed to go to or go through, to you know to build myself up. And that was that miscarriage that I had. I was at the lowest point ever in my life. I would never wish pregnancy loss on anybody, or for them to suffer in any way when it comes to that. But when it comes to what's mine is mine. You know, um, and you know what I'm saying. So it was really difficult going through that. It really was. But I had my little rainbow baby. And he's so cute. I got a picture of me and him. I'll be taking pictures with my son, while he's still young. I don't ever post them though. I can post them on Facebook though. There's this really cute picture I took with Jacob. We both smiling all big and stuff. We was waiting for our food to get here. We was like, we about to eat. Let's smile for the camera. So, it was a good day. I think I'm gonna put it on Facebook instead of YouTube. So anyway, I hope y'all have a happy St. Patrick's Day. And we already got a head start because I made offerings to the goddess. She got her 3 egg offering. I actually did put up that video. So make sure that y'all go and look for that in my uploads. For some reason, there was orbs galore around the eggs that I laid out, because I gave them eggs, um, water, and milk, and they really was drawing energy off of those eggs and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing over here. Anyway, I wanted to wish happiness and good luck to everybody that is watching this. Hit that thumbs up. Keep the positive vibes going, because that is going to be the best way to do it. Okay. Anyway, peace and love to y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.